I'm going to give you my tips to help your next Parks on the Air activation be a success. That's all coming up on the next episode of Ham Radio Q&A. Hi, I'm Michael, KB9VBR, your host for Ham Radio Q&A. I'm on a mission to inspire and educate the amateur radio community. If things like that interest you, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Also, check us out on Patreon. Patrons help keep the mission alive. That's at patreon.com/KB9VBR Antennas. Well, I've been doing Parks on the Air activations for quite a few years, and portable ham radio operation even longer than that. So when I do an activation, things might appear effortless, but really that's mostly due to the magic of video. And there is quite a bit of planning and work that goes into each activation. And over the years, I've collected quite a few little tips that help me in having a more enjoyable time out in the field while minimizing the issues that could lead to failure. So with that said, these are my 10 Parks on the Air hacks that you will find will help make your next Parks on the Air activation a success. Now, checklists. I've seen so many activations dashed with the lack of one item. And in fact, I've even done it myself. After driving more than an hour to get to a never before activated park, I was getting ready to set up my antenna, and lo and behold, I'm missing one piece that is necessary for the antenna. Fortunately, I had a second antenna with me, and I was able to get that on the air and make the activation. But checklists are important, and I use them in two different ways. First off is that after each activation, I go through all of my stuff and inventory it, repair, replenish anything that might be broken or missing, and make sure that all of my kit is complete. And then prior to my next activation, I go through the checklist again, make sure I have everything, all of the items are there in their proper locations, so that when I leave, I know I have all of the pieces that I require. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have enough equipment to dedicate to a portable kit, that's great. You still need a checklist though. But if your rig is doing double duty, say in the shack and also in the field, then checklists, they become a necessary component. I keep a small emergency kit in my vehicle holding things like pens, pencils, pocket knife, flashlight, screwdriver, some paper, a little bit of medication, small first aid items. And this isn't supposed to replacement to a more full-featured first aid or a toolkit, but it has just those little essentials that I might need in order to fix just a little small or common issue. It's just things, just those essentials out in the field to help smooth over any kind of small crisis that I might have. This kit, I do have a video on it, how I put together my sort of everyday kit in case of an emergency kit, and I'll leave a link to this down in the video description below. Cable management is important, and properly coiling and uncoiling your cables will help you deploy and recover your antenna systems faster. For that, I use the over-under method of coiling my cables and ropes. I learned this method way back in college, and I've been using it for years and years to great success. And in a nutshell, the way it works is as you coil the cables, every other time you give the cable just a little twist so that when you uncoil it, everything stays flat with no kinks or curls or anything like that. If you're winding, say, a wire antenna onto a wire winder, you can wind it in a figure-8 fashion, and it will have the same effect. You'll be able to pull the wire off without any kinks. I got a video demonstrating the over-under method, and I'll put that in the video description down below. Once you get your cable coiled properly, you're going to want to keep it from uncoiling, and for that I use these little Velcro wraps. The wraps can be attached to the cables so that they never get lost, and when you use the wraps to kind of tie the cable together, you can all throw them into an organizer, and you don't have to worry about them jumbling up or locking together with the other cables. And speaking of organizers, these packing tools keep my antenna kit from becoming a jumbled mess. I use the medium-sized one for holding coax, and smaller ones for all of my ropes and my antenna systems. You can find these organizers online. I'll put a link down below. But these cubes keep all of the contents together for my antennas and makes picking and choosing an antenna even easier. Now, my biggest pet peeve of any group portable operation is poor knot tying technique. Out at field days, I've seen so many bad knots. You know, it's just totally mind-blowing. Not only is a bad knot hard to untie, but it also is a potential safety hazard, as you don't know if the knot is going to hold. And there's really, as a ham radio operator, there's really only 3 knots that you need for a successful antenna deployment. First off is the bowline. It's a easy to tie, a very secure knot. Works great for tying a line to, say, the center connector of an antenna, the end connectors, things like that. And then the second knot is great for guy lines and ends of antennas. That would be the half hitch and taut line hitch. You can use those to tension guys for putting up, say, a vertical antenna. And then finally is the sheep bend knot. This knot is useful for joining 2 ropes together. And a sheep bend is a great knot, especially if the ropes are of 2 different thicknesses. It'll hold those fast, yet it's easy to remove the knot and disconnect the ropes. Knowing these simple knots will put you well on your way to very effectively deploy and quickly recover your antennas. Now, I have a habit of charging my batteries after every activation, and nothing is more discouraging, than when you get out into the field and you find that your battery is discharged or does not have a full charge. So when I recharge my batteries after they're fully charged, I put a piece of tape on the connector, and this is like masking tape or the blue painter's tape. And what this tells me is that this is a fully charged battery and it is ready to go. If I do not see the tape on the end of the connectors, then I know that this battery is either not fully charged, or it may have a partial charge, or needs to be recharged. So putting tape on the end of your connectors is a great indicator that you've got a fully charged battery. Now, speaking of power, I've converted all of my power connections over to the Anderson Power Pole system. They make for fast connects and disconnects. It's a modular system, so it's easy to, say, change out batteries or power cables, connect, disconnect to different types of power sources. I got little adapters. Say I want to connect my radio to a accessory port in the vehicle. I can just put the adapter on the end of the power pole there and plug it in. It's a very, very handy power management system. Now, this goes without saying, but you need to stay hydrated when you're out in the field. Carry along a water bottle like this, or throw a few extra bottles of water into your vehicle. I use these flip-top Nalgene style bottles. I've used these for years. I love them because they've got a nice wide mouth that's easy to drink out of. There's no straws or valves or anything like that that are hard to clean. It's just a very nice, simple water bottle that has a lid that protects the opening, so that keeps that clean. Finally, did you know that the Parks on the Air program has a Slack page? Slack is a social site that's very popular in the business and technology fields, and in it you'll find a wealth of information without any of that drama that you find on other social media sites. But the best part is about the Parks on the Air Slack page is that it has an archive of all of the Parks on the Air spots. So if you've finished up an activation and say you've got a busted call sign from a park to park, or you weren't able to properly copy the park numbers, or you forgot what frequency you were on, you can go back to the Slack page, you can search and find the spots and copy down any of that missing information, frequencies, parks, locations, call signs, things like that. Really, it's an invaluable tool for cleaning up those incomplete logs. Well, there you have it. Those are my favorite Parks on the Air hacks. What are your favorites? I'd love to hear them. Why don't you leave it in the comment area down below. I'll filter through those and follow up on them, and who knows, maybe one of them will show up on our next Your Questions Answered live stream. But for more articles of information and antennas for sale, please check out my website, www.jpol-antenna.com. Your support of this channel drives the production of future videos. Like and subscribe, it helps a lot. And also, check us out on Patreon. Patrons help keep the mission alive. That's over at patreon.com/KB9VBR Antennas. Well, that's it for this time. I'm Michael, KB9VBR. Have a great day, and 73.